What I have for you today is very special because if you can understand what I'm about to teach you, it's possible you might not ever experience a negative sensation again. And I know that's a kind of incredible and unbelievable claim, but at the very least, it should massively reduce how much suffering most of your feelings cause you. And it may not happen all the time, but it'll have a very, very big impact if you can get this. So, listen closely. This starts by me going over some of the content that I've talked a little bit before about the difference between anxiety and excitement. Because I think we can all agree that generally speaking, we'd rather feel anxious, we'd rather feel excited than anxious. Yeah. And the important point, and this is what I want to lead you through throughout this whole thing, is that it's not necessarily the emotion itself, as in it's not the feeling itself that tends to cause the suffering, but how we interpret it, how we label it, how we define what's happening. That's the thing that makes the difference between whether something is pleasurable or painful, generally speaking. Let me explain. If I'm feeling anxiety, I'm feeling anxious, my body is anxious, then physiologically, what's happening to me? My heart will be beating really fast. I'll be thinking a lot about the future. I'll be focusing on the things that might be coming. Particularly through the anxiety lens, I'll be thinking about the things that I really don't want to happen, or the things that I'm concerned might happen that are really bad. But my thoughts will be on the future. My breathing might be quite high up in my chest. I won't be breathing all the way down into my body. I'll be breathing up here. Right up in the shoulders, yeah? Right in the chest. My palms, it might be a bit sweaty. And I might feel this general sense of what for now we'll call agitation, of my body feeling restless and wanting to move. Now, the combination of all of those things, combined with thinking negative thoughts about the future, well, we call that anxiety. And we go, oh, this is an unpleasant feeling. I hate feeling this way. I want to stop feeling anxious. And we resist that sensation. But let's really break this down. Let's look at being excited. And I want you to take a moment now and I want you to think back to maybe when you were a child, when you were a lot younger and you had a birthday coming up. How excited were you for your birthday? Just picture that and bring yourself back maybe so you can feel it. Think about how fun it was and you were thinking, oh, it's 3 days away. I can't wait. You're thinking in the future. You can't stop thinking about that thing that's coming. Your heart rate, you might be beating when you think about it, beating hard and fast. Your breath, I can't wait. Oh my God. Up in the chest. Your palms might be sweaty. And in terms of the feelings in your body, you might feel quite agitated, restless. You want to get there. You can't wait. Your body is like tingling and energized. Same feeling. And so let me use that as an example because this is what I want to get to. I want to explain to you how your brain interprets what's going on and how that interpretation is the thing that makes you decide if an experience is unpleasant or not. So in both of these cases, whether we're feeling anxiety or we're feeling excitement, physiologically, we've established some pretty similar things are going on, right? Raised heart rate and, breathing in the chest, sweaty palms, thinking about the future, yeah? So what's the difference? The difference is that these sensations arise. You'll have the initial thought, the initial stimuli. You'll have the thought of, oh, the thing that's in the future. And then in response to that thought, your body will have a physiological reaction. Your heart will beat, etc. And then once your body has had the reaction to the initial thought stimuli, then your brain looks at what's happening to the body. And based on how your brain interprets what's happening, then it decides how it would perceive that experience. And then it decides whether we're going to label that feeling as anxious and therefore bad or pleasant. So if we're thinking about an exam that's coming up and we're worried we'll do badly, or we think of that thought, oh, the exam, oh, future thought, what's happening in my body, heart beating, oh my gosh, I must be anxious, that's a bad thing. I don't like being anxious is bad. Everyone told me that. Where were we? Being anxious is bad. Everyone told me that. I'm going to resist this. And then I'm going to add another layer, another feeling in response to that stimuli. Stimuli being, oh, I've had the thought of noticing I'm anxious. Now my body will respond to that additional thing and make me go, oh, now I'm anxious about being anxious. And it will snowball and get worse and worse through my lens of the things that I'm experiencing, I'm interpreting as bad, undesirable, things I want to avoid, things I'm resisting. You can take that exact same experience. Oh, that exam coming up. Oh, I'm so excited to see how I go. I've studied so hard and I cannot wait to see how I absolutely smash it. Oh my God, I wish it was here already. I'm so excited. Now, very few of us have had that thought. But you could see how that's available. And so even that isn't entirely the heart of what I'm trying to get to here, because what we're talking about now is reframing something. And that alone isn't going to be enough to just mean that you won't feel bad anymore, like I said right at the start. It'll help quite often. But I want to use these as an example to teach you something even more important, significant, and powerful, which is that all of that is an example of how all of your thoughts, or your emotions, I suppose, or really your experience of your emotions works. You have the stimuli that creates the response, and then in response to how your brain interprets that response, then your brain puts together things of, oh yeah, that must be what it is. And that's pretty much what's happening to you every single time. It's pretty much what's happened to you with everything you've ever felt. It's not that you suddenly just have a feeling and thoughts all at once. You notice or hear or see or perceive something, then your body these things get interpreted so quickly, and the responses your body has are so fast. And your brain has to hang on, like put all this stuff together and go, oh, this is happening there, and oh, what does that probably mean? It has to make a narrative out of all of the input that it's getting. And that's, again, this is what I'm trying to stress, is that your brain's interpretation of what's happening is contextual. It's not the reality. It's based on the context and how your brain is interpreting stuff. And I'll try and think of another example, because I know there's a lot. I could have pre-prepared this one. But it's like, have you ever started to feel a bit sick or unwell, and then you go, oh, maybe it's because I ate this thing, or maybe it's because I ate that thing, and maybe it's not that. And then later on you realize that actually maybe you were just getting a cold, or I don't know. Or maybe, I'll come back to you another time with some more examples of moments where you've interpreted something in a particular way, but actually that's just one interpretation. However, we can convince ourselves of it. We can convince ourselves that that is the thing that's happening, and then our mind and our lives are dictated by our belief that whatever that contextual interpretation is, that interpretation is the truth. And that's where we get misled, and that's where you can seize control back. That's the point, where you can experience whatever feeling, emotion you're having, and step back and say, hang on, what are the cues that led me here? Why do I feel this way? And is it accurate? Is it really what's going on? Could I interpret this in a different way? Is my context correct? And you'll be surprised at how often either you could say, no, it's not correct. Maybe there's a flaw here. Oh, I'll just let it go. Maybe I could interpret these things quite differently. Oh, cool, what a relief. That's very common. But you'll also find a terrific power in simply understanding what's happening. so that any future reactions or emotions or responses you might have, you might interpret them knowing that it's your brain responding to something and interpreting it later. Instead of just being like, I'm stuck in this thing. Oh no. It really does give you a lot more power when you understand what's going on. And it can seriously take the edge off a lot of the things that you experience. Even, like we said before, you might get anxious, have the physiological response, brain interprets that as anxiety, and then responds on top of that as anxiety is bad. Let's get anxious about being anxious. We can avoid all of this by just stepping back and saying, okay, what's actually happening? Well, my heart's racing. I'm thinking about something in the future. Okay. Does that mean I have to freak out about it? Do I have to feel anxious? Do I have to call that anxiety? Or do I just say my heart's beating fast? My palms are sweaty. Oh no, I have sweaty hands. Oh. Removes a lot of the sting, yeah? Okay. I hope I've explained this well enough. It's a very complex thing. It's something that I sometimes spend quite a great deal of time going through in sessions with my clients. But it's worth it, because if they get it, I've seen how much it can just completely change. Whether they get affected by things or not. Maybe ever again. It's super powerful stuff. I feel I haven't fully done it justice, but maybe I have, or maybe there's something more that you'd like to share or add or ask, and please do. Please put that in the comments below. If I can help any single person get this, I would love that, because it's so powerful, it's so good. All right. Leave a comment, and if you enjoyed this, if you made it this far, at the very least, you could drop a like and maybe subscribe, because I make a new video every single day. If you want to see what I talk about tomorrow, you should hit subscribe. I'll see you in the next video.